Now when it comes to Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and Metro Boomin, yes, we've got someone new to talk about today. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, because today we're diving into how Drake just had the worst flop of his career, and at the same time, how Metro Boomin opened up about his new project and revealed something major about Kendrick Lamar's influence on the entire rap game. According to Metro, Kendrick didn't just drop heat, he shifted the whole landscape. And it's within that shift that Drake's recent failure starts to make a whole lot more sense. So again, like and subscribe, because what we're witnessing is Kendrick winning, Drake, or should we say Karen, losing, and Metro pulling back the curtain on the transformation that all these insecure rappers are clearly terrified of. Now with that said, we're witnessing something truly unprecedented in hip-hop, especially in the streaming era. For the first time ever, the so-called courtside Karen of rap, Drake, is completely shook. And while he'll never admit it publicly, you can tell by his strange Instagram post about Gracie Abrams that he's rattled. Behind the scenes, he's probably considering stepping away from rap, or planning some over-the-top escape route to save face. Why do I say that? Because after all the hype, the noisy rollout, the messy numbers, and the constant back and forth about projections, Drake's new record with Central Cee has officially flopped. And not just a little. The Billboard Hot 100 has been updated, and despite early projections hovering around number 6 or number 7, the song didn't just fall, it plummeted. The final result? Number 23. And that's where it gets poetic. Drake, after all his passive-aggressive shots at LeBron, just became him, going from number 6 to number 23 on the charts. Fitting, isn't it? But jokes aside, this flop reveals something much deeper about where the industry is headed and how the general taste in hip-hop is shifting. This isn't just about Drake. This is about an era ending. And again, this isn't just opinion anymore. These are hard numbers, cultural shifts, actual facts. The game is changing, and we're seeing it happen in real time. Now, let's compare this track with Drake's earlier diss record, What Would Pluto Do, or even What Did I Miss? That track, where Drake leaned more into rapping, still charted relatively high, even if fans found it underwhelming. But this new one? It tried to follow the global pop formula, a modern-day one-dance type of record aimed at casual listeners all over the world. It was safe, it was formulaic, it was desperate. And 5 years ago, that kind of song would have shot up the charts with ease. But not anymore. This is the shift Metro's talking about. This is what Kendrick's influence has sparked. A deeper hunger for authenticity. A rejection of surface-level, globally packaged rap music. And while some folks out there are still in denial, pretending things haven't changed, this flop is the proof. Because for Drake, a global superstar, to create a record this calculated, this pandering, and still have it crash and burn, that says everything. So while we're clowning Drake for what may be the biggest flop of his streaming-era career, let's be clear. This isn't just a Drake problem anymore. This is a warning shot to every rapper who's trying to play it safe and appeal to everyone. That era? It's done. And now, as people are witnessing the fall of the guy who got away with every grift in the game and who others tried to copy just to stay relevant, we're watching him fail. Hard. Seriously, if you don't think Drake falling out of the top 20 with a song like this is going to scare rappers away from making these lazy, gimmicky tracks, I don't know what else will. Because let's be real, if any of these rappers have a shred of sense left, they'll start backing away from these pandering, clout-chasing anthems immediately. Now, let's flip the script and look at what is actually working, the songs that are sticking on the charts and earning long-term respect. If you look at the data, Kendrick Lamar has once again dethroned Drake with the most streamed rap song in the world. This time, it's All the Stars. That's right, Kendrick's formula, from old eras to now, is still dominating. And it doesn't stop there. Luther is still sitting comfortably in the top 13 despite being almost a year old. That's the kind of longevity we used to associate with legends like Bruno Mars, songs that actually hold cultural weight and stick around. These aren't just tracks, they're milestones. And that brings us full circle to the bigger picture. We are now seeing the full-scale effects of a rap industry in transition, a shift we haven't seen in years. And stepping right into that narrative is someone we haven't talked about in a minute, Metro Boomin. Yep, the same guy who helped kick off this entire new wave with his game-changing album, We Don't Trust You. Now, why is Metro Boomin so important to all of this? Because after releasing his latest mixtape, A Futuristic Summer, the reaction was, let's just say, mixed. Compared to his previous blockbuster albums, which felt more like cinematic events than music releases, this one landed a little flat with some fans. And hey, I get it. As someone who reps both the East and West Coasts, this record wasn't really my vibe either. I didn't connect with it the same way. But that's the thing. Metro wasn't trying to replicate his last few records. This project had a completely different tone, and that was intentional. Now, while some folks rushed to clown the album, Metro didn't lash out. Instead, he jumped on social media, not to cry or complain, but to offer insight. He shared his mindset, his vision, and who the project was actually made for. And that part, that's key. Because even though there were plenty of critiques, something in his response stood out. Something that speaks to the bigger movement happening in hip-hop. See, as Metro explained where the genre is going, what he's aiming to do, and how others are now following his lead, along with other giants like Kendrick, he touched on something major, the return of regionalism in hip-hop. What does that mean? Well, after a fan posted praise for both Metro's mixtape and Kendrick's GNX album, calling them powerful, focused bodies of work that reflect specific musical roots, everything started to click. Because neither of these projects were chasing global chart approval. They weren't built for algorithms or mass appeal. Instead, both albums were unapologetically tied to their regions, their heritage, and the unique musical DNA of the artists who created them. And then Metro said it himself. It's time for music to get back regional. Boom. That one sentence tells you everything. Metro and Kendrick aren't just reacting to the industry, they're redefining it. They're shifting the spotlight back to music that means something, that reflects culture, background, and authenticity. And in doing so, they're pulling the game away from the shallow, globalized, trend-chasing noise that has flooded the charts for too long.
Social media has everybody trying to do the same thing. But Metro Boomin, he's saying it loud and clear. Let's get back to actual culture and regional identity. And when you see the post he's responding to and the sentiments he's echoing, you start to really understand the point he's making. Because this isn't just about beats or lyrics anymore. It's about a movement, a full-blown shift in what hip-hop values and who it's really for. So when Metro calls for a return to regional hip-hop, music made for a real audience, not just the internet, and when he credits Kendrick Lamar and GNX for pushing that mindset forward, you realize this change isn't theoretical anymore. It's happening. And it's not just happening in the underground or niche corners of rap. It's coming straight from the most influential producer of the last decade. The guy who made the beats behind some of the biggest rap hits ever is now leading a new direction. Now, take a step back and look at the big picture. You've got an album like GNX full of unapologetic bangers that reflect real culture, real identity, and then in the same breath, you've got Recycle Man, aka Drake, crashing from 6 to 23 on the charts like he's LeBron falling off a stat sheet. That contrast, that's the shift in motion. The reason fans are flocking to Kendrick's style and running away from Drake's formula isn't complicated. It's because people have now seen what real, authentic rap can sound like at the highest level. And once you've tasted that, you don't need the same old fast food catalog from someone like Drake.
Now, back to Metro Boomin and A Futuristic Summer. Yeah, commercially, the record isn't doing great. It's definitely a step down compared to Metro's usual blockbuster rollouts. But that's the point. Metro already told us this was the plan. He wanted to make something deeply personal for a specific audience, not for mass appeal. And look, let's be real, that also makes the album less accessible to mainstream listeners. It's not designed for chart domination. But that doesn't mean it's a failure. Because when you compare it to GNX, you realize GNX is the bar now. That's the template other rappers are starting to follow, and we're only beginning to understand its full impact. What stands out here is this. For the first time since Metro exploded onto the scene as one of the biggest producers in hip-hop, he's finally created something that reflects his own regional sound, something he can fully call his own. Think about that. After years of rappers begging him to recreate the same formula, to give them the same beats for the same radio success, he's finally reclaiming his authorship. That's not just personal, that's powerful. And again, I'll be honest, this project isn't for me either. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I loved it, but the sentiment behind it, that matters. The possibilities it opens up, huge. Because for every Metro track that may not connect with everyone, there's a GNX, a project whose impact is so massive it's reshaping the entire culture. So yes, even if A Futuristic Summer isn't chart-topping, the message behind it holds major weight. And that brings us to this exact moment. From Metro's comments to Kendrick Lamar's rising dominance to Drake's humiliating flop, we're seeing something undeniable. Both listeners and creators are craving authenticity, more than we've seen in years. So think about this. Drake is falling off. Metro Boomin, the man behind the decade's biggest rap records, is now speaking directly about the shift and crediting GNX for leading it. So to all the critics, culture vultures, and people pretending nothing is happening in rap right now, let me ask you straight up. Are you really gonna sit there and act like this means nothing? Because it does, and it's already rewriting the future of hip-hop. Now, with all that said, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Drake's flop? Was it really his worst ever? And how do you feel about Metro Boomin's comments? Do you agree this shift in rap is the real deal? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm excited to read what you all have to say. And hey, if you made it this far in the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It helps a ton. And if you want to see what happened right before this disaster, when Drake had one of his worst shows of his life, getting pelted with toilet paper and everything, check out the suggested video. It's wild.